Hey, what up, y'all? This is Astro Dim laying in my bed, because you know it's my bed, and astrology in this G. Oh, go on, go. Hi. So I wrote some notes because tomorrow I'm out to get some powers or whatever because I'm melanated. We already have powers. It's so you gotta worry about that. But anyways, listen. Tomorrow's gonna be huge regardless of whether we get powers or not. Saturn and Jupiter is conjuncting during the winter solstice of 2020. That's huge. Very, very huge energy. So what I want to do is kind of give the details of that. And I also want to definitely speak on what these energies mean. I'm going to first talk about the winter solstice because it's important, just like the Saturn Jupiter thing too. And then I'll talk about Saturn and Jupiter. This happening the way that it's happening is extremely significant. The crazy thing about this is actually a great transition for the winter solstice. So the winter solstice is going to happen at 5:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 21st, right? And the thing about the winter solstice is it is when winter starts in the northern hemisphere and when the summer starts in the southern hemisphere. Now, this is huge, not only seasonally, but also astrologically if you are into tropic astrology, what people call Western astrology, but no, it's tropic astrology. I don't like calling it Western astrology. Anywho, because it's based off of not Western culture or whatever. It's based off of the tropics. So do you remember seeing a map and seeing the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and then the Tropic of Capricorn? Well, the sun is at the Tropic of Capricorn, or going to be exactly on the Tropic of Capricorn tomorrow at 5:03 a.m. Okay? And when the sun hits there, it is, as close as it's going to be to the southern hemisphere, and thus making and creating a beautiful situation, which is the longest day in the southern hemisphere and the longest night in the northern hemisphere. Because think about it, the sun is closer to the southern hemisphere, the day is going to be stretched out longer, but the sun is further away from the northern hemisphere, so it's going to make the night longer. Okay, and so with this Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting in Aquarius at this time, whatever that the Saturn and Jupiter energy is going to bring is going to be long lasting, is going to be a hard-working situation, is going to be a lot of responsibility. It's just really very elongated situation. Beyond it being in Capricorn, just that whole idea of the longest day and longest night, right? It seems like it seems like, honestly, it will affect the southern hemisphere different from how it'll affect the northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere folks is going to really be dealing with a lot of the it's going to be dealing with a lot of shadow work and a lot of the unknown and the unseen, while the southern hemisphere folks is going to dealing with a lot of light work and what's seen and what's conscious, what they can deal with. But it's different versions of the Saturn Jupiter conjunction. Do you feel what I'm saying? So it's going to be quite interesting, to say the least. Quite interesting. Sorry, just had to make a quick text. Anywho, some deep ass shit's popping off. All right, so let's talk about the winter solstice first, right? You know what the winter solstice is? It's the beginning of winter, beginning of the Capricorn season without If you want to send me something, a gift, how about I send you my my business office address? That'd be cool. Actually, let me go do that. If y'all want to send me something, I will give you my business office address, and they will like figure it out, file it out, and ship that shit to me. I can't be sending people my home address like that. I don't know, y'all, right? So let me do that. Would you guys send me stuff? Can I tell you what I want? Can I tell you the things that I like? Okay. I like French macaroons. I love flowers so much, but flowers probably won't work well. So that sucks. But whatever. But I love French macaroons. I love chocolates, especially Godiva. All right, but like a nice, truffle situation. You gotta be careful with truffles though. Like the Gardelli, whatever they're saying, whatever that name is, or like I like Godiva's the best, but whatever. I appreciate it. Crystals, whatever you intuitively feel that I should get, just go ahead, take a wild guess, baby. I'm fine with that. What else do I like? I like astrology themed stuff, of course. I don't know. Oh, you can send me tarot card decks. That would be really cute. And oracle card decks, especially if it's black owned. I would love it. But I'll take whatever. I like sneakers. I'm a 7.5 in women. Okay. And I don't know what else I want. I love like perfumes and sprays and oils that smell good. I love incense. I love oils, like put it on my body oils, I already have my conjure oils, okay? Check out King Cootie Beloved. I like lipstick and lip gloss sets. Just multiple colors, just in case you don't know what color I would like. It's okay, just try them all. I'm very adventurous with makeup. I'm not like I used to be, but I'll fuck with it. Especially with the lip. Like, I'll wear a weird color lip and be fine. Okay, not too weird. I like my reds and pinks and browns. What else do I like, y'all? I like shoes. I like sneakers as well. Nike, Adidas, if you go with the sneakers. What else do I like? If you send me like clothes, I like my clothes like baggy. So like a sweatshirt, like a big ass sweatshirt. That'd be awesome. Okay, guys. Okay, I'm going too far. Sorry. If you have any questions, just hit me up. Maybe I'll do an Amazon list. I'm sorry. I just really went into the zone on things that I want. I apologize. My birthday is January 7th, though. And I'm a Capricorn. So this is why I'm really going in like that. And that was just like ridiculous. Okay. Pulling it back. All right. So if you're interested in sending me something, you can send it to my office. 6 Liberty Square, number 2095 in Boston, Massachusetts, 02109. Again, 6 Liberty Square, number 2095, Boston, Mass, 02109. Thank you. Mwah. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm sorry, I just really went off, but like the winter solstice is the beginning of the Capricorn season. Shout out to all my Capricorns. I wish you get all the gifts. It sucks that we had a good COVID birthday last year, but we can't have we're having now a COVID-y birthday this year. Unfortunate, but that's what it is, But let's talk about the winter solstice, right? It's a change of season. It is officially winter in the northern hemisphere and officially summer in the southern hemisphere. Seasons in astrology shows the focus or highlight for the collective, okay? Because when you think about it, the seasons based off of the position of the sun. Right now, the sun is at the Tropic of Capricorn. So a lot of our focus is taking action practically, taking action when it comes to our, the things that we deal with in the physical thing, like creating dreams and visions and making it real, making it physical, taking the responsibility. It's very, think about Sun in Capricorn, you know what I mean? Consciously taking actions off of, being practical, and getting things done, highlighting it, showing it, bringing some light to it, right? And honestly, since the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is happening in the Tropic of Capricorn, while the sun's at the Tropic of Capricorn, so like in winter solstice, and again, the southern hemisphere, it's the longest day. I wouldn't be surprised if so many things come into light when it comes to the southern hemisphere. For some reason, I have an intuitive vibe of saying shout out to the Aboriginals of Australia, as well as the Pacific Islanders, the Melanesians, all of that, because I feel like, I don't know, I just felt like I had to say that. So that must mean something intuitive. I'm getting some vibe of Southern Africa too. So maybe things are going to come to light. The Aboriginals there are going to be able to get something out of something. I don't know, but I just felt like saying shout out to them. So that's really interesting. But there's a lot of countries in the southern hemisphere, and I didn't get a ping for the other ones. So that's very interesting. So there's that, right? So yeah, interesting. So again, like I said before, the sun's in the Tropic of Capricorn, longest night for us, longest day for them. So a big focus for this winter solstice, all right, is taking action on the practical so we can later fixate on the logic and explore the emotional ramifications before we transition into taking action on the passions from the emotions. So I'm going to say this one more time. Actually, 2 more times. This is the second time I say it, right? Taking action on the practical so we can later fixate on the logic and explore emotional ramifications before we transition into taking action on the passion from the emotion. Now, does this sound a little familiar? Do you see a string of connection here? I'm going to say this the third time and the last time. Taking action on the practical, that's Capricorn, cardinal earth, so we can later fixate on the logic and settle in it, right? That's fixed air, Aquarius, and explore emotional ramifications before we transition, and that is very Pisces, mutable water, into taking action on the passions from the emotions, Aries, cardinal fire. It is a line of different things we got to do. It's kind of like us taking steps, but trying it different ways. That's what seasons are. The seasons always start in a cardinal sign and ends in a mutable sign, and then we have to start to the cardinal all over again, right? And so if you kind of follow that line, I'll go through the signs real quick. Aries, we have a passion idea, we want to just go at it, right? But then we get stuck because we have to handle the practical stuff, and we have to really focus because we act too haphazardly in Aries season. So in Taurus season, we have to just get our ass stuck in there and really figure out the practical shit because we kind of act too haphazardly, right? And then we have to start exploring ideas on how to expand. Mutable air, Gemini, right? But then bam, then we have to figure out, okay, how are people's emotions are involved? How can we motivate people and take action based on our emotions and motivate people through their emotions? Cancer, right? And then, okay, then we have to make sure that we still are very expressive and passionate with what we have done and express that passion, Leo, right? And then when it's after that, it's like, okay, so we're very passionate. We're connected to it emotionally. Let's find different ways. Like, are there ways for us to fix this thing? Are there little tweaks that we can make? Is there a system that we can make to make this more practically flowing, Virgo, right? And then Libra, all right, but how can other people relate? You know, we're really focused on ourselves and how it works for ourselves, but how can other people relate to this? Yes, that works, but can that work? Balancing it off, Libra, right? And then it's like, okay, but we might need a transition somehow. We might need a deep transformation because we've figured out that this way don't work no more in the Libra season. This way works. So we have to go through that transformation, Scorpio. And the thing is, while we're going through that transformation, mind you, you're staying fixated on emotions, figuring out what decision can you really make? What can you do, right? Then after that, because of the like seriousness of it all, and staying fixated, you're learning to be adventurous and passionate again, and trying things out and just going for it. And if it doesn't work, just jumping on another thing. Sagittarius. But then, like I said before, we have to take action on those practical ideas again, right? Like I mentioned before. So then that's Capricorn, so we can later fixate on the logic, Aquarius, and explore the emotional ramification before we transition, Pisces. And then again, we're doing the circle again into taking action on the passion from the emotions, Aries, and then it starts all over again. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a cycle, baby. All right. So I did this before. I don't know if I did it for fall, but I typically like to do readings on the solstice and the equinoxes because it's the marking of how the rest of the season will go for us, right? Of course, like, you know, Aquarius season is going to have its own vibe. Pisces season is going to have its own vibe. But overall, you know, the winter solstice Capricorn season don't just tell you how Capricorn season is going to rock. It's telling you how the, you know, rest of the seasons for the winter is going to be. All right. So let's actually go ahead and take a quickie look over at the aspects being made during the winter solstice. Okay. I'm sorry, I see like 2 spiders in my room. Mind you, we had a nor'easter, so I don't know how spiders are literally living outside and like being able to reach into my house. Like, it's just insane to me. Like, how? It's so strange. Anyways, I'm mad distracted, huh? Distracted as fuck. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about these aspects, right? So what's really interesting, guys, the major aspects being made to this winter solstice, what really interested me is that the sun, which we're going to be focusing on because it's the sun that's making the changes, is conjunct Mercury. Oh my God. Really interesting energy here. And so this speaks of not only our, you know, conscious actions and our self-expression is very reserved, very responsible, very action-oriented in a practical way, but our mind is in the same vibe too, especially with a close conjunction like that. It's like a 1-degree orb at this point, very, very tight. And so what's beautiful about this, though, I know it's tricky with the sun because the sun does overpower planets that is conjunct unless it's a Cazimi. However, you know, what's dope about conjunctions is these energies are working hand in hand. Like, we cannot deny that at all. It's just that sometimes our self-expression can get in the way. You know what I'm saying? So, our mind and our communication in our day-to-day life is also matching with our self-expression, our conscious actions and reactions to things, in a way where we are, you know, seeing what needs to be done and doing something about it, having a vision and actually working at it, finally picking something and just driving it home, right? We're coming from mutable fire, right? So during Sag season, we've just been exploring ideas. At this point, we're just picking one and just driving it home. It reminds me very much of the Two of Wands transition to the Three of Wands, right? Between that transition, baby, you know, you was trying to figure out which wand to pick. You picked a wand and you kept it going, relay race style. This is the kind of vibe that we're in right now, you know, between those two cards. And so, you know, it's beautiful because not only are we reacting in this type of way, our mind's in it. It's not like we have this weird obligation to look a certain way and we're going about it. Like, we really believe that this is the right thing logically within our mind and within our practicality, and we'll take action both logically and practically to get shit done. So this is really cool. I feel like this season is going to be extremely productive, right? So I'm feeling it. I think it's dope. I have both Sun and Mercury in Capricorn, so you know, of course, I think it's cool. But yeah, that's what I see with that energy. I think it's really dope. And that's gonna, again, not only it's gonna be very heightened in Capricorn season, but it's going to be energy that we're feeling throughout the rest of winter. Okay. You know, being responsible, taking action, having a vision, and doing something about it. Reaching to the top, finding that success, figuring out what makes it successful and pushing towards it, you know? Not just dreaming, you know what I'm saying? Not just doing either, and like, I'm just gonna jump at this. Now I'm gonna change my mind. Now I'm gonna do this. Like, it's picking something and just going with it, you know what I'm saying? The Sun, though, hunty, is definitely square the moon, though, but this is an interesting square. It's not the worst square, because the moon is going to be in Pisces, right, around like 27 degrees Pisces. And so with that energy, it's really interesting because you know, usually Pisces and Capricorn are quite they get along, they're sextile, right? But this is an obvious square because the sun is in the beginning of Capricorn, while the moon is in the end of Pisces, right? And so this is not like the worst square to have, you know, because these energies generally agree with each other, but there is some tension, there is some activity happening here, and of course the tension, you know, will cause and bring forth the activity. What's happening here is that on an emotional basis, we are picking up things intuitively and being quite empathic. And we are kind of like going into this vibe of like receiving messages and possibly wanting to switch the vibe or change, like, you know, take the quick turn instead of like, you know, following the directions, you know what I'm saying, or following the instructions. And so every now and then we might pull in something intuitively and be like, you know what, actually let's switch it over here, you know what I mean? And it's funny because it gives me the moon is definitely connected to emotions. You know, a lot of people like to say it's not, it is, but the reason why it's so connected to our emotions is because emotions is the way that we speak, you know, intuitively. It's intuitive language, emotion is, right? And intuition is directly connected to and our emotions also are directly connected to our subconscious, like, energy, subconscious mind, subconscious reactions, which the moon and Pisces have a deep connection to. And the thing is that, you know, what's usually happens with the moon is your subconscious reactions. Your subconscious is something that you've, you know, built within your past life and your early childhood. And so what's happening here is that we are reeling it back and allowing our subconscious mind and past situations, whether it's past life or current life, dictate our emotions, which then make things a little bit difficult for us if we have like a practical goal or conscious goal that we want to follow. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, let's go with this, right? Say it's like, you know what? I'm gonna be an artist. Like, I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna put out my shit, people gonna like it. But think if like this person, right, is like received a lot of hate, a lot of discouragement within their childhood, right? And so they're getting excited, they have the plans, they're ready, they're wanting to make this work, and then all of a sudden intuitively they feel this like pull back, like, oh no, I shouldn't do this, I'm not good enough, what if I fail, what if I fuck up? It's kind of like that type of vibe, right? But the beautiful thing about squares is, although it's tough to deal with, it brings tension, it also brings action. It makes us want to react, right? So the important thing to do is, when you get these little random feelings, whether they are negative or truly inspiration, just sit on it, write it down, process the emotion, and then see if it's working, see if it's following along with the plan. But I feel like a lot of what's going on is, our mind, our like day-to-day life, and our how we want to react to things is in one way, and how we are emotionally feeling is another. But it's going to be, again, it's not the toughest square. Usually Pisces and Capricorn get along with each other. They understand each other, in the sense of like Capricorn really appreciates the inspiration that Pisces give, and Pisces really love that Capricorn can make those inspirations into a reality. And so if you see it in that type of way, you're going to be good. That was a really long explanation, so let's keep it going, because this is going to be a long podcast. Okay, so the sun is going to also be trine Mars, which is really actually pretty dope. Now these energies typically square, but it's what it's going to do is it's going to turn up the heat, it's going to turn up the fire, it's going to turn up the assertiveness, right? It's not going to be too bad, but it's going to be like, when people are like doing like regular schmigula stuff, and they're like excited about it, and they start making noise like rawr. It's like that. It gives me that type of vibe. But Sun and Mercury generally get along with each other. They're friends or whatever. And so, what's dope about it too is that the sun actually thrives in Aries and Mars thrives in Capricorn. I know the planets are switched, but because they are touching each other, the energies, oh my goodness, again, it's just taking action, going towards it, working at it, right? And so we are going to be busy. We're going to be busting our ass. We're not going to be just letting this shit fly. What's the beautiful thing about this is we don't need a lot of inspiration. Not inspiration. We don't need a lot of motivation. There you go. All we need is the inspiration. Oh, that's nice. We don't need a lot of motivation. All we need is the inspiration, and we're ready to go. With trine energy, it's so harmonious. It just flows. Like, so we can't help but to do something. We can't help but to take action. And so that's the kind of vibe that we're going to have. And so it's kind of like Rise and Shine Twitter, or Rock Nation Brunch Twitter. Or not Rise and Shine, sorry, Rise and Grind. Rise and Grind Twitter, Rock Nation Brunch Twitter. It's like that type of vibe to it. So I'm actually excited because, we're going to be in this fucking, inside anyway. We're going to be, in that vibe anyway. Might as well take some action towards it. However, the thing is about trine, again, the energy is very, it easily flows into each other. And sometimes, you can easily flow into anger and you can't help but to express it, right? But the cool thing about it is like people tend to forget that the energy is trine, so it means that it's flowing well. Yes, anger could easily flow into expressing yourself in an angrily way and having like an emotional outburst. However, usually tension, stuff that kind of pisses you off and makes you tight, that's what causes you to be angry, and that's a square, not a trine. So I see aspects in that type of way, but whatever. that's how I see that energy generally. That's an applying square too. And so, yeah, we're going to be really busting our ass. Mars is going to be in Aries for a bit. I think up until like, ain't it going to be like here up until February, I think? Child, listen, that is like halfway through winter, honey. Oh, I lied. Not February. What was I talking about, honey? Sorry. It's going to be there until like, what, the 8th? Oh, is it going to be the time? Oh, 6th? Oh, I was wrong. Sorry. Shit. Anyway, still, it doesn't matter because we're talking about winter solstice, Capricorn season. So the rest of the winter's going to be like that. Anyway, I think what I'm talking about is Mars is actually going to be squaring Jupiter and Pluto until like February, March-ish, I think that's what I was talking about or referring to. Anyways, next, the sun is going to be trine Uranus retrograde. How fun, right? With that energy is going to be quite interesting. Uranus in Taurus is really interesting because Uranus is all about unconventional, coming out of nowhere, strange, unique, ingenuity, all that stuff. And then like it's in Taurus, which is about stability and security and tradition and keeping things steady, right? And so it's really kind of opposite energies. However, Taurus is kind of like the signs in general represents the like how is this energy being expressed. And so what I really see, like I mentioned before, is things that are unconventional, unique, or different is going to turn into a new normal. Now you're going to hear me say new normal a lot in the Jupiter Saturn explanation, so get ready. But I've been saying this for a while, is making the unconventional conventional, making things that are unique and different normal. Get in the uniqueness within you and what makes you different, what makes you strange, what makes you weird, what makes you cool, and being okay with it and seeing value within it and going with it. That's what all of this is going to be. This Uranus is like to move slow as fuck too, so it's going to be a really long lesson for the collective. We need it to be this long in order for it to really stick within the collective and for us to upgrade as a collective. You feel what I'm saying? And so with that energy, trining the sun, I feel like this is a great opportunity for us to be able to showcase what we have done while Uranus have been in the first decade of Taurus. And I know Uranus is retrograde, but Uranus retrograde is different from other planets, baby. It's strange. I feel like, things get weirder. You know how usually retrogrades kind of make you like retrieve? Not Uranus. Uranus makes it weirder. But what's happening typically is you try to retrieve, you try to be internal, but you can't help it because it's all over the place. And then something's going to happen and it's going to burst out all the weirdo. It's just going to be like, blah, all over the place. And you're like just a sizzling weirdo, like all over the floor. So it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? An opportunity is going to come in which we try to usually internalize our uniqueness, what makes us different, but an opportunity is going to come in which our uniqueness and differences is going to be needed. And so it's going to like randomly come out of nowhere. Of course, Uranus, erratic energy, sporadic energy, and then that energy is going to be showcased. So it's really cool. I'm excited about it. It's going to definitely bring in as well a lot of random events happening out of nowhere, and a lot of light going to be shining to it. So we're going to probably figure out what the fuck happened, honestly, even though Uranus is retrograde. Now what's going to be tricky though is whether, with Uranus being retrograde, we already know that, like I told y'all before, Uranus retrograde represents that this weird thing didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's been planned, right? It's been planned in a way in which it seems like it came out of nowhere. But with Uranus retrograde is a time for us to figure out, for the whole collective, not just people in astrology, has it been planned? This looks a little too strange. This looks a little too planned. Like, what's going on here? and conspiracy theories will come. So just be aware of that. Most likely it's been planned, all the weird stuff that's going to happen in winter. So just letting you know. But yeah, so that's winter solstice vibes. Okay. Yeah, that's winter solstice vibes. So it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited for it. But let's move on to the next spiel. Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter is going to be the conjunction is going to be quite interesting. It's going to last for a long time. Usually with the outer planets, when they conjunct like that, is lasting a while. So the energies that we felt from Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting last January in Capricorn, that energy's still playing out. It's going to play out with this energy. Yes, you heard me right. Because usually Saturn and Jupiter conjuncts every like a couple. Sometimes some years it does it like 2-3 times within a year, but it happens every 20 years typically. So it's going to be a blend of the Aquarius and Capricorn energy with this conjunction. Cray, right? Cray. And don't forget that Saturn Pluto that happened in January, child. Oof. Okay. Change gonna come. Yes, it is. All right. This is just the beginning, y'all. About 2020 was crazy, child. It's just shit's gonna be spread out a little bit thin, so it's not gonna be as wonky. But shit's gonna pop off though. So I just want y'all to be aware. Alright, so next segment, Saturn conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius. Alright, so let's talk about Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting in Aquarius, guys. It's going to be very interesting energy here. Now, to go back from earlier this year, Saturn and Jupiter was conjunct in Capricorn, and so us experiencing this again later on in the year is quite significant. It means that yes, this energy is extremely important. Okay, and so we have to be very aware of this theme of Saturn and Jupiter. So I'm going to explain it, and I will get a little bit deeper on basically how this is going to affect us, and like how it affects us in Capricorn, and is continuously affecting us in Capricorn, and how it's going to play on Aquarius. Because remember, guys, this energy is just not gone now. Like, yes, we felt it directly in January, but these are two of the biggest planets in the solar system. So, that energy is going to be waving around for a bit. And, if you've paid attention to my Saturn-Jupiter conjunction series that I did on TikTok, you know that even when it comes to a president being elected, while it happens, it takes a while for that assassination attempt to take place. It goes to show you that this energy just takes a while to go through and wave in. And so that's proof right there, honestly, if you really want to keep it funky. Grass monkey. I said grass monkey. I meant brass monkey. Jesus Christ, to me. They do it right. Anyways, yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm like trying to multitask. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this whole thing. So as we know, Saturn and Jupiter are quite like opposite energies here. Saturn is all about like authority, control. Sometimes it can restrict. It's about responsibility. It has a tradition vibe. Taurus is more tradition, but it has a tradition vibe for sure. Respectfulness, all that jazz. You know what I mean? Like being the leader. Very, very important with that energy for sure. So, it's quite opposite from the Jupiter energy, which is about abundance, right? Kind of working in an energy that is about expansion and prosperity. It has a philosophical vibe to it, very big picture. very jovial, very fun. And so, it's quite different from the Saturn energy, both authorities in their own right, but their approaches are different, right? And so, with Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting, we're going to be honestly going through and understanding both sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? It's either going to be a restriction of abundance, prosperity, and beliefs and travel, or an abundance of restriction, authority, control, and responsibility, right? On the more tougher side. Now, what's happening is these are lessons that needs to be learned, right? Conjunction is a blend of energies, and so it's kind of saying like, hey, if you don't learn this lesson of this aspect, you will receive this: a restriction of abundance, prosperity, beliefs, travel, expansion, or an abundance of restriction, authority, control, responsibility. Now, the lessons that we need to learn, or the opportunities of growth with this conjunction, is learning to have authority over your abundance, prosperity, and beliefs, and learning to balance fun and work. Truly the Temperance card, when you really think about it. I took it there. I took it there, honey. It's very similar to like the Temperance card. It is. Now I say that because of this. Like, I had a conversation with a couple of folks on Twitter about it. It was a quite interesting conversation, and I was like, why the hell is Sagittarius the Temperance card? And I had a lot of and I'm into tarot, I'm into astrology. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Because you think about it, mutable fire, like the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like a lot of the reasoning, although I understood it, felt like it was slightly a stretch. And so it was really confusing to me. Now, one person said something that really was like, ding, 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 I get it. She said, I can't think of her name, and I feel stupid for that too. I wish I was actually on Twitter. I'm not fucking with Twitter anymore, guys, just letting you know that right now. But, she said this. She said that the major arcana that are connected to the signs, that's the advice for that sign. I was like, okay, got you. That makes sense, balance is important, and I feel like this is what the conjunction is really telling us to do, is to balance both Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn and Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. Okay? Balancing the ability to have your responsibility, that authority, that control, with also that abundance, that prosperity, that fun, those beliefs and travel. Being able to balance both of those things at the same time, at the same damn time. Okay? So again, if you're feeling these two energies, a restriction of abundance, prosperity, beliefs, travel, the ability to just be free, or if you're feeling the abundance of restriction, authority, control, and responsibility, it's because you're not learning the lesson. And the lesson, or the opportunities of growth for this, is learning to have authority over your abundance and beliefs, not allowing other people to tell you how you can expand, what you should believe, how your prosperity works, how you should travel. But please be careful with that, guys. Okay? All right? Taking authority in that, control over that, not acting haphazardly with it. All right? Don't forget, like, these energies of like Jupiter and Saturn is in Capricorn and Aquarius, right? We're dealing with Saturn and Jupiter. People be thinking Jupiter's all sweet and all nice, because it's not. Like, Jupiter be killing your ass too, and I talked about that with that Jupiter Saturn conjunction thread I did on Twitter. Okay, so I really want you guys to be aware of that. Now, again, it's really important for us to learn to balance the fun and the work, balance the responsibilities and the enjoyment, balance the big picture versus really getting shit done. You know what I mean? Not just dreaming and not having these big ideas and philosophies and all that, but actually putting some practicality into it and being responsible of your thoughts, of your philosophies, over your beliefs. It's truly the Temperance card. Now, the Temperance card is connected to the balance energy. It's connected to great manifestation and in waiting. Now, the reason why it's connected to Sag, and you're thinking like, waiting? Sag? What? Is because Sag don't technically wait. Sag forgets, okay? That's what happens. This is why Sag is so prosperous. Sag don't wait. Sag forgets. Sag is kind of like, I really want this. I want this really bad. Ooh, look at that shiny thing. Jump into the shiny thing, but they forgot about the thing that they initially wanted, and because they let go, bam, they got it. That happens with most mutable signs, but it's the fastest with Sag because they put a lot of fiery passion into it. That fiery and passion and all that energy moves fast. It's the fastest moving energy, just like how the wands is the fastest moving energy, right? And so bam, it works like that. And so that even if your balance works like that, go with it. Find your equilibrium, okay, boo boo. All right, so let's go deeper now. So Jupiter and Saturn is moving into Aquarius, right? So Jupiter and Aquarius, when we think about that, beliefs and philosophies and travel and gains of prosperity and abundance will be unique and unconventional and unconventional. Now I can't think of the word. To fulfill a dream and a long-term goal. So we are really going to expand our mind, look at things differently, using our abstract mind, using our ingenuity to fulfill a dream or a long-term goal. Okay, really getting funky in that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so with Jupiter, again, these are like these big lofty ideas, these philosophies, these opportunities of expansion, and kind of like, those ideas. It's the big ideas at first, right? But the beautiful thing with the Saturn energy mixing into it is, Saturn Aquarius is learning to have authority and control over our unique and unconventional ways, as well as the new normal vibes, learning to deal with the random shit, using our genius to figure shit out that is currently restricted. It's true authority here, right? And so while Jupiter is kind of thinking of these unique, unconventional ideas and kind of bringing them like out to surface, Saturn is being responsible, being the leader and making it work. All right. And it's really us having to stand up and take charge into that energy. And if you don't, again, that's when you receive that restriction of abundance, prosperity, beliefs, or that abundance of restriction, authority, and control. Now, before, well, actually, no, let me reel it back in. So let me speak a little bit more on the conjunction. Let me just kind of bring it home real quick. You know what? No. Let me talk about Capricorn. So Jupiter was in Capricorn before, and I know everyone was like, oh my God, Jupiter in Capricorn, no, it falls in Capricorn. And it was just really frustrating. And there's a reason why, I really take that detriment versus, the fall versus, I take that exaltation. It's real, it's there, but you have to be careful because people really be acting like it's the worst thing ever. And I've seen so many people flourish during Capricorn and Jupiter. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. However, I can't deny too that during Jupiter and Capricorn, you know, this whole fucking pandemic and people losing their jobs thing happened. So, you know, we can't, it's not funny. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you losing your job. I'm just laughing at, like, you know, how astrology works. Anyways, so, with Jupiter in Capricorn, though, you know, what we were doing in that situation is when it came to the philosophies, beliefs, travel, and like expansion ideas and big lofty ideas, we were like, okay, let's pick a thing and go with it. Now, Jupiter typically is at home in Sag, and so Jupiter likes to just be free and open and like jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. Like, remember what I said about Sag energy? Sag energy forgets and sees the new shiny thing, but while they're forgetting, they're manifesting the thing that they forgot, and they're like, oh cool, great, I got that. And so it's kind of like that. That's how Jupiter likes to work, you know. That's why it's happy in Sag, it's at home. It's Sag. Capricorn is forcing them to, like, hey, focus on one thing and drive it home. I'm telling you, you'll be successful too. And so, you know, a lot of people have, if they did that, right? You have to follow the transits, follow the placements, blah, blah, blah. So that's what Jupiter in Cap was doing. But with like Saturn in Cap too, it was learning to have authority and control over these practical ideas, over these opportunities of growth and potential, over honestly, that's the best way to say it. Over, you know, having authority and control over these opportunities of growth, potential, and leadership. You know what I mean? And if you didn't do that, then that's when you got the heavy restrictions. But, you know, Saturn is at home in Capricorn. So it likes the whole idea of figuring out one thing, driving it home, getting into that leadership opportunity, you know, really taking authority and control over your life, you know. So the energies was kind of different because, you know, Capricorn is all about, you know, gaining some control and getting things done, you know, taking action, not just like chilling back, you know, when it comes to the practical things in life, like really making things work and making it move, you know what I mean, but in a practical way. While Aquarius energy kind of wants you to stay still for a bit and realize, and think, and honestly, think about the different things, think about multiple things, and seeing your genius work, you know, expressing that ingenuity. So it's quite interesting. Now, Capricorn also tends to, like, you know, more laid back, reserved type of energy. I don't like calling it, like kind of like traditional, but it's kind of like more reserved type of vibes. And Aquarius, of course, is a little bit different, funky, unconventional, and stuff like that. And so we're literally also going through just how, like, in Jupiter and Saturn, they're opposite energies. Capricorn and Aquarius, they're different too, you know. It's more reserved versus funky, you know, and kind of going in that type of vibe. But anyways, when we go back and talk about the actual Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, you're learning to work with and realize the restrictions that we have and being responsible, taking control, then expanding our minds to see how we can use our ingenuity to find a way to create a new normal. Say that one more time. For this conjunction, Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, we are learning to work with and realize the restrictions that we have. Being responsible, taking control, then expanding our minds to see how we can use our ingenuity to find a way to create a new normal. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Ooh, I shouldn't have said that, but it was cool. God knows my heart. All right, so these are the things that I think of. I could see potentially happening during this energy, honestly. Okay. I can totally see us traveling different. think about this whole COVID situation. I could see this being us being like quite unique and inventive in ways that we travel, for sure. Realizing our limitations in our beliefs and philosophies as well, and experimenting with it to find out what works for us. I definitely see that popping off too. We might be digging into old knowledges, old healings and ways, and remixing it, right? That's very aqua. Realizing it wasn't all wrong, so the old knowledges vibes, the old ways of doing things, Saturn. Remixing it, that shit. I mean, that's Capricorn. Remixing it, aqua. And then also old knowledge is just as a vibe. It's so Saturn, Jupiter conjunction, child. For real. Whoever and whatever deserves recognition as well for their eclectic way of doing stuff will receive it. Let me say this again. Whoever and whatever deserves recognition for the eclectic way, their collective way of doing stuff, will receive it during this time. Okay, that is definitely going to be popping off at this time for sure. There is a great chance of there being a tug of war between restriction and expansion of originality, inspiration, vision, and putting legs on it. Whether it's an Eight of Swords self-imposed restriction kind of way, or authorities of you or circumstances are doing it. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like there's going to be situations in which we are feeling restricted. There's going to be situations in which we have expansion, and it's going to be very like expansion, restriction. Or what's going to happen is like there's going to be a lot of restriction to the point where the the bubble burst, and like then things are expanding after a bubble burst, like into the air, right? And so it could happen in that type of way. Now it could happen in two different ways, right? I feel like if this conjunction is happening in the bottom part of your chart, the southern hemisphere of your chart, this can be definitely Eight of Swords type of restriction, where it's a self-imposed restriction, is you restricting yourself in a type of way, right? But if it's in the northern part of your chart, sometimes it might be some exceptions with that 12th house energy, because man, that's the subconscious mind and shit. But you can obviously just get over that stuff and work on it. But if it's in the northern hemisphere of your chart, this might be other people doing this, you know what I mean? Other authorities of the circumstances, or the people actually causing that restriction, actually causing that tug of war of whether it's going to be some restriction or expansion. So definitely keep your mind open to that too. Again, Saturn, Jupiter, polar opposites. I mean, they're not polar, but they're definitely different. Some reason too, like I feel people rising up and being attempted to be smacked down. I feel a collective censorship. I feel like online censorship. I feel like theft of ingenuity and ideas. I feel, actually, one of my homegirls I was just talking to, she was saying that there's going to I forgot the whole vibe of it, the name of the movement, but there are people who are trying to make really strict laws of copyright to the point that it's a crime and you have to serve time for it. And it could be like an easy, like very simple, very basic copyright hit. And then people are literally trying to take you to jail for it, right? That is a great, I understand, like as a creator myself, the importance of like copyright and people getting paid for their work, but that is such a tricky thing to work with, because like, you're also taking the creativity of others. I think making it a crime is like ridiculous, like you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So that situation is so funny, because it was boiling up during the time of like that Saturn, Jupiter, Capricorn, which it brings that capitalistic, it brings that authority, that vibe to it, and then like it's still working through in Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting in Aquarius. So it speaks of the ingenuity of the people who originally made the made the art or made whatever the person wants to copyright. But the person that wants to copyright also is trying their best to create their own version of art a lot of times too. If we're talking about like online stuff, like people using different songs on TikTok or whatever, all that shit, right? And so it's tricky. So this is a perfect example what I mean on things that could happen. I'm really concerned about censorship, like online censorship. This energy is happening in an Aquarius, right? Aquarius is deeply connected to networks, and it's Saturn restriction, Jupiter expansion. It's literally, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, because these energies are so like opposites of each other that nothing really passes during this time, that it's like literally law, like it's everything in court for a very long time and trying to figure out which is which, what's going to happen, you know what I mean? So that's an interesting thing too. But I do want to talk about some of the energies, some of the aspects happening for this too. Hold on one second, y'all. Just have to do something real quick. I'm so sorry for the pause. Boop-a-doop-ba-boop-ba. Da-da-da. I just have to do something real quick, guys. I'm so sorry. I know this is so ghetto, Demi. So ghetto. Okay. I just have to send something to somebody. I know this is bad. And I always do this to myself, right? So let me talk to you while I'm doing this. I always record on Anchor. Anchor doesn't have a pause button, which is frustrating within itself. And I always forget to I have a recording app that I can use. I always forget to use it. I always forget to use it. And I don't know why. It's like, what is wrong with you, girl? Can you please? Jesus Christ. And so I can't even pause this to do something real quick. It's really frustrating. So let me just do this real quick, y'all. Okay. So sweet. Let me go and talk about these aspects now. The aspects being made to the conjunction. Okay. So this energy is conjuncting Pluto. It's separating, but conjuncting Pluto. Now I felt like, with this, we all know with separating aspects, it speaks of leftover energy from something that happened before, right? And so, I feel like the big transformation that we are working towards now was brought from Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting in Capricorn, and Saturn and Pluto conjuncting in Capricorn back earlier this year. The transformation is deeply connected to COVID, to these protests that have been happening, to all of that energy. And that was the huge transformation of empowerment, in order for us to have authority and trying to transform authority, and so now what we're doing as a collective is figuring out, okay, let's use our ingenuity. Let's be smart. Let's try to look outside the box to try to find out ways on how we can better help any situation, depending on what house this conjunction is happening, right? And so, for instance, I believe this conjunction is happening in America's second house if we use the Sibley chart, which I feel like that chart is on the fucking money. Okay. They're trying to do this when it comes to self-worth, material worth, money, making money and things like that, right? And we're noticing, Bitcoin's getting popping again. We're noticing that and the freedom within that. We're noticing that America's trying to kind of build itself back up from after being like a laughing stock for a bit, and still being a laughing stock. And it's beyond Trump, the whole like, oh, Trump was in office, like, America don't be acting like a first world country, man. It don't. And so we're trying to kind of get our self-esteem and our self-worth back, and trying to, like, get that shit together. It looks like we're trying to. I mean, kinda. Yeah. But I feel like, the change is going to be implementing around this time for sure, which is really interesting. Now, how this can happen personally to you, right? But remember what this whole thing was about. My general idea of the conjunction: learning to work with and realize the restrictions we have, being responsible, taking control, then expanding our minds to see how we can use our ingenuity to find a way to create a new normal. Again, this was brought by a big transformation of authority from the past, and so depending on where this is falling, your chart house-wise will show you where in your life you are doing this in. So, keep that in mind and be open to that, okay? This conjunction is also going to be sextile Venus, another separating aspect there. And so we've learned something here. Okay, we've learned something harmoniously, though it's not like a harsh ass lesson, but we've learned something and found value into something from the past, and is causing us to do, again, what I mentioned before. Learning to work with and realize the restrictions we have, and being responsible, taking control, and expanding our minds to see how we can use our ingenuity to find a way to create a new normal. Okay? But basically, the thing that we've learned is connected to value. It's connected to worth. It's connected to building relationships. It's connected to sustaining relationships. Excuse me, I can't talk for some reason. Creating balance and harmony within our lives. And so again, we are, trying to find ways to create that new normal for that energy, which is interesting. We've learned something. We figured it out. We're like, okay, a new normal is needed. And so let's try to make that happen. I really feel like there's some great money opportunity with this energy too. I really do. So, try to be unique and unconventional and different. I really suggest people to jump into like some Bitcoin situations for sure. This energy is also sextiling the moon, which is an applying aspect. It's energy that we're feeling now. We're going to be feeling more as it gets closer and closer and closer. I feel like closer and closer and closer in a more progressed way. I don't know how I'll be able to do progressions in that sense, but whatever. So anyways, let me write this down. Anywho, I think with the moon, is sextile on the moon. What is a beautiful energy with this is that we are learning from our emotions. We are learning from our subconscious reactions. We are learning from things that are deeply within our internal selves to create the new normal, to open up our minds. And it kind of reminds me of that Uranus-Taurus placement that's happening too. Finding value within what is different within us. You get what I'm saying? And so I feel that we're finding value within our emotions. realizing things on an intuitive basis and an emotional basis, and creating new normals based off of that. So that's actually quite amazing too. This energy will also be squaring Mars. Now, okay, that's gonna be interesting. As you know, squares represent tension, and so there's going to be some tension. Now this tension, I feel, is going to be that tug of war that I was speaking of, and so I don't think this is going to be a cute one. I don't. I feel so bad for people who have this natally, a Mars square Saturn or Mars square Jupiter or both. Jesus Christ. It speaks of the energy of like working and trying and exerting, especially because Mars is in Aries. And then, you know, not getting that abundance, not getting that prosperity, not getting that philosophical idea, and not getting things right for the Jupiter side, or not getting that authoritative position, not getting the responsibilities that you want, not getting all of that, you know? And it's kind of like, well, damn, man, like I keep trying, like why does this keep happening? You know, it's a tricky placement to have. It's tough as fuck. And so I feel like that's what's going to happen. A lot of people trying, and it's not coming through. People are not listening. Authorities are not listening. Like philosophers and people that we've trusted that were like OGs, not listening, not getting it. It could just be off of pure impatience, with Mars being in Aries too, as like the authoritative figures and the OGs, like the Jupiters, the philosophers, are saying, be patient, child. It could be that too, but it could be just that, like, why I keep trying and it's not working out. I'm getting frustrated. And so I feel like there's great potential of more unrest, civil unrest. I feel like there's going to be more situations of people getting mad and just doing what they want and how they want, or finding ways, again, creating new normals so they can skip over certain situations and not have to deal with it. The people who are tired of having the a corporate or the 1% thumb over them are like they're thinking, they're going out there, they're being creative. Like you're gonna be seeing a lot of innovation around this time, off of pain, off of being tired of busting their ass and things not coming through. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of like, just like you busting your ass and trying to get things to work, you know, it's going to be the inspiration to a lot of people. So it's really, really interesting. Okay. Lastly, the Saturn and Jupiter energy is going to be squaring Uranus. It's a separating aspect. So with it being a separating aspect, the cool thing about it is like a lot of the quirky, weird things or incidences, or those random sporadic moments that kind of came out of nowhere and really just, you know, shook the table. It happened in the past, right? But now we're taking those situations and really learning to, again, create the new normal. But we're really going out there, especially with the Uranus being involved. We're really thinking outside the box. And with the Aquarius, we're really trying to include everybody so it could truly be fair. But there's still a lot of tension. There's still a lot of frustration. However, with it being separated, a lot of the heat and aggression is definitely like lowered with it being a separating square, and people are really trying to take action instead of just being destructive. So that's really, really cool there. And sometimes, honestly, being destructive works. All right, being destructive gets shit done. I ain't mad at it, but you know, a lot of people's like, no, stop it, you're doing too much. No. I'm all for. I was all for the riots when like slight rioting was happening, and like it wasn't like trying to set up people of color to get arrested. I was for it. I thought it was cool. So yeah. Anywho, let's actually end this. Wrap this up, but not before I talk about the fixed stars. Okay, not before I talk about the fixed stars. So let's go do that. So the first fixed star I'm going to talk about is called Alberio. It's a 3.2 magnitude double topaz yellow sapphire blue star in the beak of the swan, the Cygnus constellation. Actually, shout out to Astrology King. I'm reading this off of his website. Website's great. It's called the hen's beak, and the energy is quite interesting because it is connected to refinement and intelligence and intuition, good looks. And so what I kind of got from this energy conjunct in the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction is like following philosophies, responsibilities, and disciplines that are connected to offering your abilities to support a group or the collective. And the reason why I say that is because, with the Alberio star, it is, connected to the sign of Aquarius, which makes sense, is at 1 degree Aquarius, tropically. And Aquarius is all about helping the collective, helping others. And the opposite sign of Aquarius is the 5th house, the house that's connected to talents and self-expression. And the thing is that in conscious actions, and the thing is that like it takes the talents that you have to offer it to others. And so as Alberio is connected to again being idealistic, psychic, handsome, neat, lovable, refined, gentle, intelligent, they're using all that energy somehow to collect to help the collective. You get what I'm saying? You feel me? All right, that's what I got from that. Is it cute? I thought it was a cute interpretation, right? So yeah, let's keep it pushing. The next the next fixed star is also at 1 degree Aquarius, but a little bit down in the 1 degrees, 1 degree 47 seconds or minutes, is Altair. And Altair is a pale yellow star in the neck of the eagle in the Aquila constellation. And it means the flying eagle. Okay. Now with this energy, it's connected to being bold, confident, unyielding, ambitious, and have a liberal nature, great and sudden, but ephemeral wealth, a position of command. It makes its natives guilty of bloodshed and gives danger from reptiles. That's interesting. Again, I'm catching this from astrologyking.com. So yeah, that's some interesting energy. But with this, the Altair definitely gives courage and generosity. It has like the vibes of Mars and Jupiter, you know what I mean? And so it gives that generosity and wanting to help others and want to do things. But it also gives courage, and it gives like hardiness as well. Not hardy. I can't talk. What's wrong with me? And so it kind of gives me this vibe of this. This is my own interpretation of it now. It gives me the vibe of, you're not only using like those pretty, nice, beautiful gifts that you have, the little talents, natural talent that you have, but you're also using the more masculine, more assertive, more overt talents instead of the covert talents of, Alberio. Alberio's more of Alberio, sorry. Alberio is more so of the feminine talents, and the Altair is more of Altair is more of the masculine talents that you have. You get what I'm saying? And so I definitely feel like that energy is showing almost like a yin-yang vibe, balancing both the masculine and feminine, the covert and the overt. You know what I mean? And again, with this energy conjuncting Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, I feel like it is definitely speaking of using both, with both of these stars conjunct there, using both your masculine and your feminine talent to help the collective, to help the misfits, to help the people who feel unheard and things like that. So that's my take on it. Okay. Anywho, that's what I got for you guys. Yeah, that's it. So next segment, I'm just gonna close it out, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I'm closing this out and all that. I hope you guys have a lovely holiday. No, am I gonna take this next week off? I might. You'll hear from me, child. But but yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely holiday. And continue to have a lovely holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Winter Solstice, Happy Festivus, all that, right? One thing I also want to mention is, this conjunction is like major. It hasn't happened in a while. I think around the 1600s was the last time this conjunction in Aquarius happened. But this Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions happen every 20 years, right? Also, I did a series on this and a Twitter thread on this, the 20-year thing. So check that out. But this energy is quite special because it invokes change of a lot of people, big groups of people. Now the thing is that the last time this happened was around the 1600s, and when I think about the 1600s, I think about when the African slave trade started to push through towards the Americas, and how a lot of the Aboriginals of the Americas, both variant of browns and some even not brown, right, have been like taken advantage of greatly. And so it's like, I feel that a lot of change is happening to many different people, many different people who are melanated and Aboriginal. I'm not gonna front. Those are the big groups of people that things are gonna like turn. And I kind of wonder, and I should probably look this up more, the last conjunction, like I would love to look at that chart, because for those people to suffer so much, our ancestors to suffer so much is really heartbreaking, and shows me like a lot of tough ass energy. But how this energy is looking, it seems like there is a big fight that will be had, and it will be done, and a lot of people will will get their justice, whether you have to do it weird, or not even whether, it's just going to happen. We're just going to be very unique in our approach, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really amazing for the whole collective, everybody involved, right? I think it's going to be really cool energy, and I think the new normal will be made, will be had, will be done, and it will be lovely. Okay, the new normal that we've had was turning a lot of people's heads upside down, changing their lives in a negative way. Let's hope that it's positive this go around. All right, much love to y'all. Peace.